The ocean. It's a huge and mostly unexplored place on our planet, and an incredible 95% of all the oceans in the world still remains unseen by humans. This leaves the burning question of what could be lurking in the unexplored areas. Many experts believe that given the vastness of the ocean, it would not be a surprise if some pretty large animals still remain undiscovered. And there's certainly no denying that when talking about the unexplored deep sea, the first thing people tend to think of is the possibility of mythical and terrifying sea creatures. And although this thought is amazing, it's equally terrifying. Now, over the years there have been many mysterious sounds captured by underwater devices that to this day have no real explanation. So have a listen to these and see what you think. Let's start with probably the most popular underwater sound ever recorded, the bloop. Most of you have already probably heard it, but maybe you haven't heard the actual real-time recorded version. It was first heard in 1997 when it was picked up on hydrophones across the Pacific, and whatever it was very, very loud. The underwater microphones that picked it up were around 3,000 miles away and still managed to detect it. Most versions on the internet have been speeded up by 16 times so that the bloop can be heard easier, but the original version I find far more eerie and mysterious. Let's take a listen. Shortly after this recording, the sound was pinpointed by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. It was located around 650 miles off the South American coast in a remote corner of the Pacific Ocean. Fans of fictional tales went wild because it's around here that the legendary Cthulhu creature written by H.P. Lovecraft in 1928 was alleged to have lived. Now, although the NOAA now believe the sound was caused by an icequake, there is actually no real evidence to prove that this was the cause. So, what do you think it was caused by? Some say it was a blue whale, but there are no recorded blue whales in history whose sound could be heard from 3,000 miles away. Others strongly believe it was some sort of whale hybrid or other enormous unknown sea creature, but since the sound still has no precise origin, the bloop continues to remain a mystery.
Where is Leviathan according to the Bible? The Bible tells us that Leviathan is alive and at the bottom of the sea. This creature is older than you might think because it survived the Great Flood. We see that when God announced this disaster, only those who lived on land were to be destroyed. In fact, this was when Leviathan had an abundance of food because many people died under the waters. But let's get to the point. The first place where Leviathan could have been is near Argentina and Chile. Some scientists detected the sound of a massive creature in that area and even made a comparison of its size. The scientists, not knowing what it was, called it the bloop. This could be Leviathan. The second place is the Bermuda Triangle, where planes and ships have mysteriously disappeared. What's surprising is that an enormous creature was discovered near this area, and the Bermuda Triangle is not far from it. According to the Bible, Leviathan can move, and it is possible that this creature is in Latin America.
You want believe that this creature actually exists on our planet. Out of all the creatures made by God, this one stands above them all. Its name is Leviathan, an enormous, armored, and destructive sea monster whose identity and existence is surrounded in mystery. Some say Leviathan is too horrifying to ever exist. It must have been a metaphoric concept, but I believe there is biblical evidence pointing towards the existence of such a beast, because the word Leviathan in Hebrew appears a total of 5 times in Old Testament passages, and hidden among them are 2 good reasons to believe this monster actually existed.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and salutation and much love to the Akim out there pushing out his word in truth and sincerity. This is the brother Osh from Great Millstone, Tampa, back with another quick lesson. Lord's will is going to be edifying, and I'm just going to do a quick video. I was going or talking with ChatGPT. And I asked it about Leviathan. And what you're about to see is the spirit and power of Yahawashi. But this is a video I did 2019, as you see on the screen. And I'm going to play a couple minutes of it. And pretty much what I seen in the dream is what ChatGPT says. Okay? And ChatGPT wasn't even around in 2019. But let me start with this, because the Lord is to be feared, man. Now, I'm going to show you the conversation I had with ChatGPT. Psalms 47:2, for the Lord, Yahawah Most High, is terrible. He is a great king over all the earth. He shall subdue the people under us and the nations under our feet. He shall choose our inheritance for us, the excellency of Jacob, whom he loves, Salah. And the point is, the Most High is terrible. He's great king over all the earth. All right, so let me just run this clip real quick, maybe 2 minutes of it. And just remember what, and again, this is 2019, almost 6, what month was it? July 20, so almost 6 years ago. All right, the Lord put this vision, as I titled the video. It was a dream, but I believe it to be a vision. And I'll put the link in the description box if you want to watch it. Watch the whole video if you want. But check this out, because watch what ChatGPT is going to say about Leviathan, and watch what they say. What they were saying in my dream.
All people were fighting each other, and I see, I give the baby back to his family, and I'm asking people, like, what the hell happened here? What's going on here? And the people start telling me, oh, you didn't feel it, you didn't see it. And people are, they're hurt. They don't know what the hell's going on. They don't know what. And I'm going to this building and start asking more people, what happened here? Because it looked like a damn something great, big happened. All right, there's cars ran into buildings, fires. All right, some buildings are falling. All right, all kind of chaos and destruction. All right, utter confusion. So as the people start telling me what they saw and what happened, they're kind of describing an earthquake. But I was like, what? And they're like, you didn't feel it? I said, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. And the people were, while they were describing it to me, they were afraid. They were like, you didn't see it? I was like, so what?
So they were afraid. All right, and remember that, because watch what ChatGPT is going to say about Leviathan.
It was an earthquake. The ground was shaking, and they were like, no, it was coming from the water. It was coming from the ocean. And they instantly, I knew what they were, in the dream, I instantly knew what they were talking about. They were talking about Leviathan. So, and it reminded me of this, the movie Godzilla, the one that came out back in 2014, when the final battle.
And remember Godzilla too, because I asked GPT about it.
When he's fighting that creature. And if you look at that movie and you see how the city was, that's how pretty much it was in the dream. And so I instantly knew they were talking about Leviathan, and they're like, yeah, we they didn't really want to describe Leviathan because they were in such fear. But I knew what they were talking about, because when they said that
So that's a key point right there. They couldn't even describe it because they were in such fear.
it was from the sea, that all this quake and shit, the shaking was from the sea. But they were talking about Leviathan. So, but I didn't, in the dream, I didn't see Leviathan. I'm just seeing the aftermath of him doing something. I don't know what it was, but it caused people to go into chaos and to panic. So then I meet up with another brother Arya, in the camp, and I'm telling him, and he's hearing these things that I'm hearing, that as people are trying to explain it to us while they're just shitting their pants. And me and this brother, we're just calm and collective, and which brings Isaiah 33:6 to mind. So we go outside again, and it's like it's daytime now.
So that's the point that I wanted to hit on the video. Again, check the video out if you want. I'll put the link in the description box, Lord, as well, I remember. But this is what I asked ChatGPT. All right, I said, draw a picture of Leviathan from the Bible, and it went on for like 20 minutes loading. And then eventually it says something went wrong while generating the image. Let me try again with a slightly revised approach. I attempted to generate an image of a Leviathan as described in the Bible, an awe-inspiring sea creature with massive serpent-like body, glowing scales, and fire-breathing features, emerging from stormy waves under a thunderous sky. However, there was a technical issue that prevented the image from being created. Yeah, the technical issue is above your pay grade. AI, this is above AI's pay grade. You can make Godzilla, you can make movies about serpents, dragons, and all this and that, but you can't. ChatGPT's, but this, and just keep watching. I asked it more than once. It said a technical issue prevented the image. Usually you type something in and create an image, whoop-de-whoop, it'll create it in 1 minute, 2 minutes at the most, right? But all of a sudden there's a technical issue. So it says, if you'd like, I can try again or guide you on how to visualize or create this image using art resources or detailed descriptions based on Bible texts like Job 41, which I recommend you go read the whole chapter. Okay, whoever's watching this video, if you haven't read it, read it, and if you have read it again. Okay, it says, let me know how you prefer to proceed. I said, this is what I replied with. So I changed it up, because at first I said draw a picture of Leviathan from the Bible. So this time I said create an image of Leviathan from the Bible. Same thing again. About 25 minutes, maybe 30 went by, just loading and loading. And then what did it say? It looks like the image generation is still running into a technical issue, because this is above AI's pay grade. All right. And watch what I'm going to say. But let's keep reading. It says, while I work on resolving that, here's a vivid textual description of Leviathan based on the biblical account, mainly Job 41. Leviathan, the biblical sea monster. Imagine a colossal sea creature longer than a ship rising from a turbulent, storm-tossed ocean. It's trying to paint a story and shit, out of the depths of the ocean in a stormy night. But let's just keep reading, Its body coils like a serpent, armored in scales that shimmer like brownish or like burnished bronze, so tightly sealed that not even air can pass between them. So it's taken from the Job 41 mainly, as it said in the previous right there. It says smoke billows from its nostrils like steam from a furnace, and fire flash. So remember, this is going to happen. If it's not already happened, we don't know. How do you know? I don't know. You think Esau's going to tell you that Leviathan killed a bunch of people in the middle of the ocean, took a bunch of boats out? No, he's not going to tell you that. In the middle of the ocean, in the Pacific Ocean, Leviathan could be smashing people as we speak. I don't know. I'm just saying. It could be possible. It could not be possible. But until it's recorded on camera and it be spread, the social media era. But ain't nobody sitting in the middle of the ocean recording. And if they did, they probably died, if that's the case anyway. I'm just making that point. But it says, smoke billows from its nostrils like steam from a furnace, and fire flashes from its mouth. Its eyes glow like the dawn, casting light over the waves. Every movement stirs whirlpools, and when it thrashes, waves crash like thunder. The sky above is dark and filled with lightning, mirroring the creature's wrath. Leviathan is untamable, majestic, and terrifying. That's why I brought out that Psalms. Because watch what ChatGPT is going to say. It's saying that Leviathan is terrifying, right? And majestic. But watch what it says later on, ChatGPT. It says a symbol of divine power over chaos. Let's go. If you'd like a hand-drawn or AI-generated visual later, I already asked you for that. But it says, I can try again once the tool is back to normal. Would you like me to keep trying until it works? And I said, nigga, I know the scriptures. I want a picture. It says, I can create that image for you, but please avoid using offensive language. So even ChatGPT gets offended, apparently, from speech. He's or ChatGPT's politically correct, right? The language police. It says, let's keep things respectful so I can help you properly. Now generating the image again. Hang tight while I try once more. And it's still loading. Look, still loading. And that was hours ago. So it's still loading. So I stopped asking it for pictures, right? Because clearly it's not, it can't do it. It's still loading as we speak. And this was hours ago, right? So I said, Leviathan must be beyond your comprehension. And watch what GPT says. You are not wrong. Leviathan is meant to be overwhelming, even terrifying. In the Bible, especially in Job 41, it is described as so powerful that no one can tame or even challenge it. So Esau, you're finished. Your navies, anything, right? It can't stand toe to toe with Leviathan. It says that symbolism captures something deliberately beyond full human control or understanding. So you're tapping into something deep there. There you go. It's too deep for ChatGPT to understand that the Lord created something like this. But we understand it. We haven't seen it, but we understand it. But this is too much for Esau's technology to even comprehend. And it just admitted it right there. You see it on the screen. And it says, so you're tapping into something deep there because ChatGPT can't go too deep, right? It says, let me know if you'd like me to generate that image once the system allows it. Again, I'm here for it. I said, would you say it's more frightening than Godzilla if it existed, right? If Godzilla existed, would Leviathan be more frightening? And watch what ChatGPT comes to the conclusion. Absolutely. If Leviathan existed as described in the Bible, it would likely be more frightening than Godzilla. Here's why. Supernatural origin, Leviathan isn't just a big monster. It's a creature made by the Most High, or God, specifically to show how untamable and incomprehensible his power is. So ChatGPT starting to get he's starting to get it. Or it, right? I mentioned comprehension. Now ChatGPT's like, damn, this is incomprehensible, right? In Job 41, God basically says, if you're scared of this beast, imagine the one who made it. Ooh, that's why I brought out Psalms 47, right? For the Lord Most High is terrible. He is a great king over all the earth. So if Leviathan is terrible, untamable, right? Terrifying, how much more the one that made him? Let's keep reading, though. A little bit more. Invincibility. Its scales are described as impenetrable. Weapons, swords, spears, javelins bounce off of it. Nothing on earth can control it. Not even humans working together could trap it. Let's go. Elemental power. Unlike, here's the good point of Godzilla, right? Because you see the movies Godzilla, oh, blue, whatever. Unlike Godzilla's atomic breath, Leviathan breathes fire and smoke like a living forge. It's tied to the sea and chaos, stirring whirlpools and leaving destruction in its wake just by moving. Symbolism of chaos, Leviathan represents cosmic disorder and is often seen as an embodiment of evil or chaos in ancient literature is not just a creature, it's a mythical force, okay? Whatever. Yeah, it's going to bring chaos onto the wicked, right? So this is it right here. So yeah, in raw primal terror and in what it represents, Leviathan would put Godzilla to shame. So those movies of, you remember the Godzilla from the early 2000s, or maybe it was 99, 98, something like that. It was either 98, 99 or 2000, the movie Godzilla. I remember at the beginning of the movie, they got the dude, the Japanese, or the gook, and they recording him at the hospital, and they're like, what happened? He's like, Godzilla. Good. That's nothing compared to Leviathan. It says Leviathan will put Godzilla to shame. And you see the movies, what horror and terror Godzilla causes. So what about Leviathan? All right, let's not forget about him. That's prophecy. It says Godzilla is terrifying, but Leviathan would make you question reality. I didn't even have to ask no more about that. When people see, and again, go back and watch that the dream I had, which I believe now to be a vision for sure. Hey, but Leviathan would make you question reality. Kahala Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. What else is there to say? Kahala Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi.
Puts the epicenter of the 7.1 earthquake right in the heart of the San Francisco Bay.
This just into News Australia.
Si l'aviation ne parvient pas.
We've also been getting strange reports of something moving under the Golden Gate Bridge.
I mean, it must be 300 feet tall.
Cars are tumbling off the bridge.
San Francisco has now become a war zone. Unless the jets can bring down this massive creature, I don't know what is going to be left of this city.
Cutting a 3-mile wide path of destruction for the city of San Francisco. I can only pray that this is the end of it.
Job 41. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook, or his tongue with the cord which thou lettest down? Canst thou put an hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird? Or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thine hand upon him. Remember the battle. Do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? Who hath prevented me that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment, or who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a close seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. They stick together, that they cannot be sundered. By his sneezings a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, as out of a seething pot or cauldron. His breath kindleth coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. In his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. They are firm in themselves. They cannot be moved. His heart is as firm as a stone, yea, as hard as a piece of the nether millstone. When he raiseth up himself, the mighty are afraid. By reason of breakings they purify themselves. The sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold, the spear, the dart, nor the habergeon. He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. Sling stones are turned with him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laugheth at the shaking of a spear. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp pointed things upon the mire. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. He maketh a path to shine after him. One would drink the deep to be hoary. Upon earth there is not his like, who is made without fear. He beholdeth all high things. He is a king over all the children of pride.
And he said, well, what do you think this is? Watch this video closely. Tell me what you see pop up out of that glacier. So I said, all right, let me take a look. So, boom, I go in here, and I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at it very carefully, and trust me, it is very, very interesting. Now, what they're doing is hanging out here on the side of a glacier because they think it's going to calve, which is, you know, fall apart. And it does. Watch.
It's going well. We had some serious bouts of wind, but other than that, things are fairly well set up.
Right, so he's just thinking everything's cool, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Kind of, it's starting. The big piece is starting to calve. Let me call you back.
And that is not small stuff.
Bye.
I think he says 600 feet tall, something like that.
Right there. Holy shit, look at that big bird rolling. All four running, right? Yeah. Look at that.
Now watch this.
You see how, look at the whole thing.
The whole thing is bubbling and boiling, but it's coming up from underneath. And I'll show you in a second. Look at that, isn't that spectacular? Alright, now, here's what I want you to watch, and watch carefully. I'm going to just click on and off here. As a matter of fact, I think I will make it so that it runs slowly. Let's go to 25%. Alright, here goes. Let me just turn this off. Now, what do you think you see here? I thought that was water, and I still think it was. But I think something was coming up, lifting it up, and I will show you what it is as it runs slowly but forward. Well, 25% of the speed is very slow, isn't it? But it'll be worth it when the thing comes up that we're going to see. I hope. Alright, it's way out here. Here we go. Now, watch this. I'm going to come back before it starts coming up out. Alright, so it's still, everything's still calving apart, and then something comes up right out through the middle of it. Let's go back even a little bit. No, that's good. Here goes. Now, watch what comes out of there. It's quite interesting in light of all of the discoveries of late. What is that? Okay, this is not, that's not water. That's water running off of something. And that something is big and dark and black. And then they cut it off. Now, they show again here somewhere another shot of that same situation. There it is right here. Now, watch this. This one's really deadly. Here it comes. Boom. That came right out of the water. And if you look right there, I don't know what you see, but I see what might possibly be some gigantic creature. That is not, that's a thing. What is that thing? I don't know. But it's not a nothing. Now this event was quite a long event. Is this the only shots of these particular? Look at that now. Look at that. Water's running off whatever it is. Now there's other things around here too. I just don't know. You know, it'd have to be looked at. But I've been looking. Now look at what's going on here. What's all this about? Well, look, it's splashing down into the water now. That's a thing that popped up and it's not coming back down now. And this is maybe its tail. I don't know. All right, there's a lot of bubbling and activity going on here. And they seem to be cutting in and out of the shots that I'd like to see what the final outcome of this is, because something is bubbling up out of here. And there's a lot of it going on in here. I see, it's whatever it is coming back up again. What's going on here? There's something else popping up. I don't know, I'd like to see the complete footage of what it is. Yeah. Now that is, something's running all the way off over here, and as far as I can tell, I don't know where it stops. But you could, well, you can't see it now. I mean, those are the kind of shots that go, bing, just like that. Look, something's running off of a thing. There's too many things that water's running off of. Now I don't know what's going on here. Just don't know what's going on anymore. Alright, so I'm going to leave it at that. Alright, just so you can get a sense of scale here, we're going to go and look at
It's as if the entire lower tip of Manhattan broke off, except that the thickness, the height of it, is equivalent to buildings that are 2.5 or 3 times higher than they are.
See what happened here? This whole area just collapsed. Now, where that, I don't understand it's a creature. I don't care how you look. Look. This is the thing. I would love to see the full footage. Now this one we should slow down, because maybe we can see something in this one at a slower speed. All right, stay with me, my friends. Here we go. Let's play and see. The whole thing starts to give way. Now watch over in this area here. I think that's where I saw him popping up. There's some boy, look, there it is right there. Now, I believe that this whole area here, even here and everything, is related to whatever this thing is, and it is a thing. Look at this. What is this? Look at that. Keep your eye on these things. Wherever water runs off, it means something is coming up. All of that whole area is, look.
It's magical.
Look at that. Now, I just shut it off for 1 second. Because I don't want the guy to sound like he's drunk there. But look, don't forget, this is the size of Manhattan. Look at this. Now, boom. It's still, look, all right, that, I'm telling you, that is a thing. That is some kind of a creature thing. Now, you take it for whatever that means. Look at that. It's still coming up. It's still coming up. It's still coming up. Now, whatever that is, I don't know. Maybe that's just blocks of ice now. I have no idea. But I sure would like to know and see the entire video.
O Lord, how manifold are thy works. In wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is full of thy riches. So is this great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts. There go the ships. There is that Leviathan whom thou hast made to play therein. These wait all upon thee, that thou mayest give them their meat in due season, that thou givest them their gather. Thou openest thine hand, they are filled with good.
And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith Yahawah, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. Before I get started, I want to give all praise to Yahawah, Bahasham Yahawashi, Bahasham Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, salutation and blessings to the hopeful members of the elect scattered throughout the four winds of the earth that believe wholeheartedly in the true doctrine of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, and that are in the hope of salvation in these last days. Okay? And the water Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi for opening up our minds to this truth and giving us this knowledge in these last days that we may have the hope of salvation. All right? Quick little video I wanted to share with you brothers as well as sisters out there that, you know, that are seeking Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi in his mercy in these last days and are hastening the day, all right, of his coming, you know, to come and deliver his elect and establish and set up Israel on the planet Earth as his people once again, and as the number one nation to control the planet Earth in righteousness. I just read Joel chapter 2 verse 17. I'm sorry, Acts. This is also found in the book of Acts. Joel chapter 2 verse 28. And it's repeated here in the book of Acts. Okay. Dealing with things that will be going on in the last days. What the Most High said he would do in the last days. All right. As far as him pouring out his spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Now, when it says they shall prophesy, it doesn't mean that they're going to go out on the highways and the byways and, prophesy as the men do, as the hopeful elect do. It's speaking about them having visions and dreams. Okay, that's what it's speaking about. And that's what happened. Okay, what was it? Sunday morning, I was still at work. And my son called me early. My oldest son, he called me earlier that morning. He called me that morning before I got off, and he was like, he basically said, "Dad, hey, he's like, I had a dream." And I was like, "Oh yeah, what happened?" And he basically got to explain it to me what he saw in this dream. But he really, he's only 12 years old, so he was, he couldn't explain it, like the brother Manata Zakba in the camp explained his dream. So what I did was, and plus I was at work, I told him, I said, "Look, what I want you to do is I want you to draw everything you saw in your dream, because he likes to draw." So I basically told him, just draw what you saw in your dream, and when I get home, you just explain to me. When I get to the house, you just explain what you saw. And so he said, "All right." And what he did was, this is what he drew. I took a picture of it. All right. And this is what he drew. All right. As you can see here, this area, these are the chariots. All right. He saw chariots in his dream. And of course they were destroying things. And he said it was so many of them, they covered the sky. All right. He saw the chariots. All right. And down here, you see the people in the street. They're basically laid out and dead, because that's what he told me. He said he saw nothing but dead bodies in the streets, and he heard nothing but people screaming and crying. And they were dead. It was a lot of people dead in the street. All right. This up here, he said this was it was like a big ball explosion fire in the sky, but it had spikes coming out of it. I don't know what, only thing I could probably think that meant is the explosion is going to be very painful to those that are left here when it happens. All right. And of course, here go the missiles. He drew a missile coming down because he saw the missiles coming. And he said he actually saw the missile exploding. Okay. And then this character, this right here, is Leviathan. He said he saw Leviathan come out of the ocean, but when he came out of the ocean, he said the water was bubbling. The water, he said it was like it was boiling before he came out the water into the city. And as you can see, Leviathan is tall, just as tall or taller than the buildings, okay, that he drew. Because whatever city it was, Leviathan was in the city and he was destroying shit. And he brought the sea with him. He's so big, the sea moved when he came out, and the sea came into the city. Okay? And everything he saw is scriptural. Okay? So this would make this a vision from Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. This vision that he had. I told him to draw it. This is what he drew. And he said all the while, him and his sister, okay, my daughter, they were on top of a high building just watching everything, and they saw everything. And they said he said that he said it was crazy. You know, he said it was just crazy. It was a lot of dead people. People were crying. The chariots, you know, the Leviathan even showed up. And the missiles. He said he saw everything, and it was just insane and crazy. But him and his sister, while everybody else was in pain and agony and being put to death, him and his sister were just calm watching everything, you know, which is beautiful, you know. But like I just read in Joel 2:27, Acts 2:17, this is what Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi said will come to pass in the last days. Okay? Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. And in this case, literally, my son had a dream of the end times, of the when shit hits the fan. Okay? So let's get a couple scriptures. All right? Now I brought this scripture I'm reading because he said he saw Leviathan in his dream, and he drew Leviathan. Okay? Because the Most High will show Leviathan in these last days. Okay? This is Amos chapter 9, verse 3. It says, and though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from me in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. And that serpent is talking about Leviathan, you know. So wherever Esau hiding in the sea, the Lord is going to command one of these Leviathans to bust up his little underwater base, okay? As well as come into these cities, okay? Because remember, these last days is going to be like a time, okay, which there has never been a nation on the planet, okay? The Most High is really finna tear this place up, America. He's finna destroy this place, 100%. All right. Now let's hit the next scripture, Nahum chapter 3, verse 3. Okay. This is dealing with the death and the dead bodies that he said he saw in his dream. Nahum 3:3. The horseman lifted up both the bright sword and the glittering spear. And there is a multitude of slain, and a great number of carcasses, and there is none end of their corpses. They stumble upon their corpses. And this is why he drew people dead in the street. Okay? This person looked like they crawling, probably screaming and begging for help, you know. Like I said, he didn't, you know, put a lot of detail in it, but he put enough, you know, just to explain what he saw. Okay. And like I said, he's only 12 years old. So let's get to the next scripture dealing with the chariot. Zechariah chapter 5, verse 3. Well, I'm going to read from 1 to 4. It says, Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. Okay, and then going back to the drawing, he drew the chariots. He drew the chariots right here. Okay. And he said it was a whole lot of them. All right, he said it was a bunch of them. Okay. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to wit, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it. I will bring it forth, saith Yahawah of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that swear falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house. Okay, talking about America. Okay, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. All right. Now, the last scripture I want to read is dealing with the missile he drew. Okay, because he said he saw the missiles coming. He saw a missile coming, and it blew up and exploded. All right. Second Ezra chapter 16 verse 12. The earth quaketh in the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also before Yahawah, and before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, talking about that missile. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they began to be shot into the ends of the world. Talking about those ICBM missiles. Behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled, and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. Okay? And that's basically what my son saw in his dream. He saw the end times of chaos, distress, pain, agony, and destruction. Okay? So, going back to the beginning scripture, for Yahawah shall pour out his spirit upon all flesh. Okay? In these last days. And that's exactly what the Most High did, man. So we definitely are real close, man. You know, we are super close to the Most High shutting this thing down totally. All right. So Lord will, this is edifying to the elect and uplifting to thy spirit. Giving all praise to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi Bahasham Rachak Wadash. Until next time, Shalom.